What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Kellen here with Droid Life, and we're starting our video coverage now of the Samsung Galaxy S6. We already unboxed it, but now we want to start doing some comparisons, just talk about competitors and some of the other more interesting things about the device. So to kick that off, we're going to do just a quick comparison to the iPhone 6. So we do have one in-house. You guys know that we reviewed it last year. This was Apple's first move into big oversized phones. So we figured we should pick one up since they're coming into Android territory, if you will. And so we have one always on hand basically now. And with this being the biggest phone, or I shouldn't say that, the top selling phone on earth, we figured we should compare it to Samsung's Galaxy S6, which will, try to catch up to that. So just a quick tour of each, kind of talk about some specs, fire up the cameras, similarities, differences, things like that. So if we just look front, so this is obviously the black front iPhone 6 with the gray back, and this is the sapphire black Galaxy S6. Now it almost looks blue in some light, so it's supposed to be black, but essentially is sort of blue. If we look on the front here, though, differences are pretty apparent, right? We've got a 4.7 inch, just over 720p display on the iPhone 6, and you have the 5.1 inch Quad HD AMOLED display on the S6. So displays are quite different. One's an AMOLED, one's an LCD, so they're completely different panels there. Now, if we look at the bottom here, we do have, well, they're not really matching, but they're sort of matching fingerprint sensors. So Apple, for a couple of phones now, has had a fingerprint sensor that just lets you set your finger right on the fingerprint sensor and it unlocks. Samsung, as you all know, used a swipe mechanism last year, but this year they've upgraded to a fingerprint sensor that actually just unlocks by resting your thumb on there. So I can try to see which is faster and more accurate, but they're both pretty quick. Apple's obviously does that animation that takes some time, and Samsung's not doing that. But if we press these at the same time and hold, you can see they're both equally as fast. So both have done a nice job. Apple's has always been really good. I've always been really impressed with that. So I'm glad that somebody finally sort of matched that. And Samsung seems to have done that for the most part. Front cameras, you have a 5 megapixel wide angle lens on the Galaxy S6 for those selfies. The iPhone 6, I believe it might just be VGA still. It's not a great front facing camera, but it is there. So if we flip over to the back, things change a lot. So we hear a lot of people talk about how similar the S6 is to the iPhone 6, and I'm sorry, I don't really see. When you put the white models side by side, they do look a lot more similar, but these black fronts together, I don't really think they look all that much alike. Sure, they both have home buttons and big displays, but the colors are different, the shapes and designs are different, so I don't really see it there. If we flip to the back, they really look nothing alike at all. So this has a gray silver back. There isn't a black version of the iPhone, and this is technically the black version of the Galaxy S6. The cameras are in completely different places, look completely different. Apple has these bands that run across. Samsung has the completely clean glass back. This is sort of an aluminum, I believe, back. So they really look nothing alike. So the comparisons there are kind of silly, but got an 8 megapixel iSight camera on the iPhone 6. No optical image stabilization, by the way. Really nice camera, always sort of leading the smartphone world there in terms of cameras. On the Galaxy S6, we have a 16 megapixel camera with optical image stabilization. So quite different shooters there, and we're going to try to put those to the test so you guys can sort of get a comparison there. Heart rate sensor here on the back as well for Samsung. No heart rate sensor on the iPhone 6. Battery-wise, definitely a smaller battery in the iPhone 6, and you do have that 2550 milliamp hour battery in the S6, but the iPhone 6 I thought has had amazing battery life, and Android phones not necessarily over the years. So we'll put that to the test with the S6 and see where we get there. If we compare up top here, you do have an IR blaster on the Galaxy S6, and you have nothing. It's just clean on the iPhone 6 there. Also have a mic. If we flip to the bottom, this is where so all the press people that love Apple products love to show you this because they do look quite similar. So iPhone 6, Galaxy S6, the speaker placement, the charging port and the headphone jack, all that stuff, it does kind of match up quite a bit. And so I get why people are saying that here, but I mean, how many different ways can you design the bottom of a phone? I don't know. If you use a metal rounded rim. So it does look similar, and it is what it is. Samsung does have a dual level speaker grate if you're looking for a difference there. So if we flip to the side, on the right sides, they each have their SIM slots, and they also have their power lock switches. So there's another similarity. And if we switch to this side, they do have both volume rockers also on the same sides, although Apple has their sort of mute lock right there, and Samsung doesn't have anything like that. So that's kind of it in terms of externally. Obviously, the software is quite different. We've got Android and TouchWiz, which looks nothing like Apple's iOS. So the comparison there isn't really needed. You guys know the differences. We've reviewed this, so if you want our take on iOS, you guys can have it. Otherwise, the cameras are going to be a big battling point. I don't have anything to take a picture of, but Apple's camera is really easy to jump between if you want to shoot a regular photo or a square or a pano or whatever. You just kind of swipe around. It shoots really nice slow-mo videos. Everyone knows that the camera on the iPhone 6 is one of the best in the business. It always has been. So you basically just look at something, touch, and it shoots. It's instant. It focuses fast. It takes good pictures. With the Galaxy S6, we're pretty much seeing an identical experience. I mean, it focuses fast, you tap, it shoots, the shutter's fast. So the cameras are really going to be close here. It's interesting, and it's kind of picking this up on the camera, I believe. You can see just how much cooler the screen looks on the Galaxy S6, whereas the iPhone 6 looks a little warmer to me, but also looks a little more natural if the lighting in this room actually is a little bit warmer. So we'll see if that translates over to actual picture results, if Samsung's does it a little bit cooler, but we'll play with that. So cameras are going to be a big deal. Again, you have a 16 megapixel with OIS in the S6. You have an 8 megapixel with no OIS on the iPhone 6. The iPhone 6 Plus, though, does have OIS, so maybe a little bit better comparison there. Overall, though, that's pretty much it. We just wanted to get these in hand and show you sort of what they look like. If we want to talk about in terms of premium build, they're different styles. This is glossy glass that's reflective. It does have that metal frame, and so it feels really nice in hand, but it's a little bit wider than the iPhone 6, so it's just a different in-hand feel. The iPhone 6 to me is too thin and tall, and so holding it's always been a little bit awkward. It kind of feels like an HTC One M9, which I like. It's just a little bit too tall for me. Apple has these sort of big chin and forehead areas, and Samsung has shrunk those down quite substantially, it seems like. Otherwise, dimension-wise, they're somewhat similar, except the Galaxy S6 has 0.4 inches bigger screen. Thickness-wise, I believe I just looked this up, and the Galaxy S6, I believe, is around 6.8 millimeters, and the iPhone is about 6.9. I actually can't believe that the iPhone 6 would be thicker, but it might be. So anyways, again, just a quick look to show you these side by side, both obviously high-end devices, and these are the two devices that are going to go head-to-head this year in the battle for King of Smartphones. So it should be interesting to shake out. We'll have a full review coming, but in there, we're going to hopefully test some cameras and see which one we like, and let you guys also decide what you think the quality there is. So if you have comments, questions, or you want us to check anything out in particular between these two, we can certainly do that. For now, though, we are Droid Life. We're out. Peace.